Hello and welcome to day 2 of my 12/12 birthday countdown. So today's essential tool is my intuition. And I will admit, this is something that I sort of developed an appreciation for in probably the last 3 years. And prior to that, I can honestly say I really took my intuition for granted. However, I'm glad that that's changed because I found it to be so helpful in many aspects of my life. And so when it comes to intuition, it's something that we all have, right? Despite the opinions that people have about intuition, it really is something that we all possess, and more science is pointing towards that. However, many of us have been conditioned to ignore that part of us or to rely solely on our logic and rationale and reasoning. And while I think it's important to have those components, I feel like our intuition is equally important. And so that's why it's something that I truly cherish and appreciate. And so there are different ways that I have tried to honor my intuition throughout the years, especially now that I've developed more of an appreciation for it. But I will admit, because of what I learned growing up, it's not something that I can say I've fully mastered yet, but I am very grateful for the strides I have made. And so, perfect example. So earlier this week, I had a situation where I left my phone in my car, and so I had to go get my car. In order to do so, I had to have my car keys because I didn't want to bring my entire purse with me. And so I brought my car keys with me to get my phone, which thankfully it was there. And so then I returned back to my office and everything was fine. And so just before I'm leaving for work, I get this little intuitive inkling to check my keys, like to make sure they were in my purse. But I was too distracted because I was talking to my colleague and we were leaving at the same time. And so I closed my office door and we're walking out of work, and I get halfway to the parking garage and realized I don't have my keys. My car keys were actually in my desk because I did not put them back in my purse when I returned to my office after collecting my phone earlier in the day. And so for me, that was sort of an intuitive aha moment of my intuition was telling me that I didn't have my car keys in my purse, and I was getting this inkling to check it to make sure it was there. And because I ignored it, I had to go through the extra steps of going back to my office, getting my keys, and then going to my car. Now, on the flip side of that, I've seen my intuition help me in tremendous ways, particularly as it relates to my coaching. And so, prime example, there was one situation where I was talking to a client and we were sort of working through some of his previous thoughts about work and just how he maybe developed certain mindsets. And something told me that maybe there was something from his childhood or maybe his adolescent years that sort of made him develop this certain mindset. And I'll admit, we didn't really talk about that much prior to that session. And it was sort of interesting because I was getting something very specific. I'm feeling something with a parent, maybe that's where this particular mindset is coming from. And we never really talked about his parents or how he felt about his parents, but for some reason, that's what was coming to me. And so once I was able to identify what the thing was, he had an aha moment and said, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I never would have thought about that. And honestly, I haven't even thought about that in years. Now for me, I feel like that was totally my intuition telling me that there was something about this particular situation in his childhood that sort of triggered this mindset that he had. And because I was able to lean into my intuition, I was able to help him identify what it was, and then we were able to develop a plan to resolve it. And that's why my intuition is essential to my toolkit, because I have found it to be so instrumental, whether it's remembering the little things or being able to help a client. Utilizing my intuition has been very helpful to me and helpful to others. And so while many of us may have different opinions about intuition and how to leverage it and whether or not it's something that even exists, I feel like, why not just see where things go? Why not explore it a little bit? It doesn't have to be anything grandiose. It could just literally be following your gut, right? Which is something that a lot of people talk about, and they may not necessarily attach that feeling to intuition, but it really is intuition, right? And so my question to you today, what is your intuition telling you? Like, take a moment, see if you get like a random idea or thought, or see if you feel something in your body sort of leaning you in a specific direction, and just see where it goes, okay? So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you tomorrow for day 3. See ya.